Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. We are here because we want to learn algebra. Today is our lesson number 183. Day 183, we are in the process of solving word problems from day 101 through 200, and today is our 83rd day of solving a word problem. The problem is on the blackboard. I'm going to read it to you. It says, a father is y years older than son. Y is some number, some quantity that we do not know, obviously. It's an algebra problem. It's an algebra problem, not an arithmetic one. So instead of numbers, we have variables. We are told that father is y year older than his son. Y for years. We are further told that 5 years from now, the father will be twice as old as his son. 5 years from now, father's age is going to be 2 times his son's age. The question simply is, how old are they? That's all. Very simple, very straightforward question. Now notice that because we are given no numbers at all, these are all variables. Therefore, the answers that we're going to provide are also going to be in terms of other variables. So, how old are they? When we are asking ourselves first question, how old is father today? How old are they means how old are they today? So when we are solving for father's age, in that case, listen carefully, when we are solving for father's age first we're going to solve for father's age, then we're going to solve for son's age, or vice versa, doesn't matter. When we are solving for father's age, in that scenario, the unknown is the father's age, because we are solving for father's age. Everything else is going to be considered a known quantity. The son's age and the difference in their age, y years, is going to be considered a known quantity. In the second half of the solutions, when we start solving for son's age, how old is son? The question is, how old are they? So when we solve for son's age, in that scenario, it is the son's age that is treated as the unknown because we are solving for it. And in that scenario, father's age would be considered the known quantity, and so will be the difference in their ages. Do you understand? That is the purpose of this exercise, learning how to manipulate the knowns and the unknowns, even in reality when they are all just variables. Let's begin then. Enough said. Here's the solution. Let the son's age be S years. So we're pretending that the son is S years old. S for son. Similarly, let the father's age be, yes, you guessed it, exactly, we are very creative, F for fathers. Now most people, listen again very carefully, I do not know why I have this habit, or well, I do from the class, being in the classroom, this habit that listen carefully as if you cannot listen to it again. Of course you can always rewind it, but I have this habit of saying it, so here we go again. Listen very carefully. Most people have this nasty habit, and when I say most people, I include almost all the teachers who teach algebra, have this nasty habit of putting every, I was going to say freaking, but we cannot say that, so I retract it. Every bloody thing in terms of x and y's, everything has to be x and y's. There is nothing wrong with it, but I prefer to christen my variable, I prefer to name my variables in such a way that it's easier to realize right away what that variable represents. So when I see S right away, I know that it's the son's age, because S for son. If I see F, well, that must be father's age. But if we were to put X and Y, then we have to go around remembering that did X represent father's age, or did X represent son's age? Which one did we do first? I don't know. Or is Y the father's age, or Y the son's age? I don't know. It's confusing. Why the bloody hell should we put ourselves in situations where we have to stop and think, when we can just as easily pick variables which are very easy to remember? F for fathers, S for son. That's how old they are. Okay? So here we go. We are told that 5 years from now, father's age is going to be 2 times his son's age. I think I'm going to retire this marker. This marker is getting lighter and lighter and lighter. I don't know why. Let's see if I can find a decent black marker. I'm looking around, okay? Just give me 1 second. I have a whole bunch of them. Let's see, I found one. Let's see if it's any good. Alright. So, 5 years from now, we are pretending that the father is F years old today. This today part does not need to be written. This today part does not need to be written because that's what it says. It says, let father's age be F years. Let father's age be F years when? Since nothing is said, it is assumed that it is today, is right now, is currently, is present. The father is assumed to be F years old at present, today. Therefore, in 5 years' time, whatever his age is today is going to be 5 more than that. And we are told that at that point, 5 years from now, his son, whatever his son is today, his son is S years old today. 5 years from now, it's going to be 5 more. That's S plus 5 represents the son's age 5 years from now. Son's age 5 years from now, and twice that amount is what the father is going to be. That's all. That's it. We are done. That's it. We are done. All we have to do is solve this equation for F. When we solve this equation for F, we will be answering the question how old is father. When we solve the exact same equation for S, we will be answering how old is son, and that's all. Like I said before in the very beginning, since there are no numbers here, and when you are asked question how old are they, when we solve for F, F is the unknown, everything else is the known, and when we solve for son's age, S, in that case, S is the unknown, everything else is known. So let's do it. Let's open the parentheses. So we get 2 times S plus 5 plus 10. And how old is father? Father, we are told is Y years older than his son. I left it out somehow. I don't know how that happens. So we have to take care of it here. We have to express this F in terms of S. F is father's age. Father's age today. But we are told that father is Y years older. Listen carefully again one more time. We are told that father is Y year older than his son. So father's age today must be whatever the son's age is plus a Y more. There you go. The son's age plus Y more years must be the father's age today. And that equation there, that equation here, if you were to read this in English, this is mathematical algebra obviously, we're going to read this in English. What this says in English is, father's age today is Y years more, plus Y, you see, Y years more than his son's age today. Which is exactly what we were told in the question. We were told in the question that father is Y years older than son. If father is Y year older than son, then father's age must be Y years more, because he's Y years older, Y years more than his son's age today. That's what that is. So we're going to replace this F. We're going to replace this F with that quantity S plus Y. Plus 5. And we're going to solve this equation for S. It turns out that we are solving for S first. That's okay. We're going to solve for S and then we're going to solve for F. So let's do it then. Bring the S to the other side. this s to the other side, so we get y plus 5 equals 2s minus s, gives us s plus 10. Subtract 10 from both sides, so we get s equals to y minus 5. There you go, y minus 5. And if you have trouble figuring out what I just did, you can always slow down and do it yourself again. So what does this equation tell us? What does this equation tell us? It turns out, again, this is an equation. An equation is a sentence. It's a sentence in the language of algebra. You have to be able to translate this sentence from language of algebra to English language. What does it say in English language, this equation here, this sentence here? What this says is that it turns out that, I'm going to put it here, it turns out that son's age today, what this says is that son's age today is 5 less than the difference in their ages. That's what it says, because what does y represent? Y represents the difference in their age. If father is y year older than son, and if father is 45 and the son is 30, the difference is 15. Father is 15 years older than son. The y is 15 in that scenario. So it turns out that the son's age is, whatever the difference is in their ages, minus a 10 less, minus a 5 rather. That's what that equation says. Now we have to solve for f. I need the room. Where should I do it? I need a lot of room and I don't know where to go. We have no choice but to erase some stuff. Let's erase this part. I don't want to erase the problem. I don't want to erase the problem because we're going to need to refer to it in a second. Now let's solve for son's age. We have the father, we have the son. Let's solve for father's age. Father is right here actually, we can continue here. Father is s plus y. S plus y, and y we know is y we can put the y from here. Y we know is s plus 5. So we're going to replace that y from s plus 5. From this equation right here. So it is 2s plus 5. That's the father's. Okay. From this equation we solve for y. From this equation we solve for y. Let me put it in the red marker so you can follow this thing. From this equation, y equals s plus 5. So this y is being replaced here. That's it, that is the answer. Father equals 2 times his son's age plus 5 more years. That's what that says. Father equals distant s. 2 times his son's age plus a 5, and son equals whatever the difference is there in their ages is minus a 5. That's all. Now, if you were asked some concrete question, for example, if you are asked how old is father, if son is 30 now, well, we can answer that question. We can answer that question, how old is father, if son is 30 now, from this equation right here. We know that from that equation, f equals 2 times s plus a 5. If son is 30 now, that's 2 times 30 plus a 5. Father must be 65. Father must be 65. Let's see if it actually makes sense. I'm going to erase all of this thing because it's getting too crowded. You already have it. I'm going to erase this thing. Only thing I'm going to leave behind is are the equations. Now watch what happens. So that's what our equation tells us, that his father must be 65 if son is 30 today. From this equation right here. Where do you go? Father equals 2 times s plus 5. 2 times s plus 5 right there. Let's see what this. Let's see what our arithmetic calculation tells us without the algebra. Here is your son. Here is the father. Here is now, and here is 5 years from now. 5 years from now. Watch what happens. Okay, go in sequence. How old is father if say son is 30 years old now? Son is 30 years old now. This is a known quantity. We're given that. In this scenario, we're given the son is 30 years now. 30 years now. Okay, watch what happens. If son is 30 years now, 5 years from now, son must be 35. Well, if son is 35 5 years from now, and we are told that 5 years from now father will be twice as old, then father must be 70. 5 years from now, you have to follow the arrows. This is the first arrow. Story begins here. Story begins here. So father must be 70 because he's twice as old as son 5 years from now. Well, if he's 70 years old 5 years from now, then he must be 65 today. Voila. He must be 65 today. That's the end of our journey. That's the end of our journey. So we go from here to here. This is our box number 1, box number 2. Then we go from here to here, our box number 3. And finally we arrive at box 4. That's it. One more time I'm going to explain to you. Question is, how old is father if son is 30 now? If son is 30 today, then 5 years from now he must be 35. Well, if son is 35 5 years from now, then we are told that father is twice as old as his son 5 years from now in the problem. So if son is 35, father must be 70. If father is 70 5 years from now, then today he must be 65, which is exactly what our equation tells us. 2 times s plus 5. That is the correct answer. We just verified it. Let's do one more problem. Again, need a lot of room. Let's keep it separate. Here's the next question. How old is son? How old is son if father is 40? Let's do that problem, shall we? How old is son? Well, here's our equation. How old is son if the father is 40? We can use the same equation here. F equals, right here, 2s plus 5. 2s plus 5. How old is son if father is 40? Father is 40. 2s plus 5. Subtract 5 from both sides. We get 35 equals 2 s's. And therefore s must be, this implies that s must be 17.5. S must be 17.5. Let's do the same thing again. Here is our son. Here is our father. Here is now. And here is 5 years from now. Watch what happens. In this scenario, we are told that the father is 40. So father is 40. That's our first box. Well, if father is 40 now, then 5 years from now, father must be 45. Well, if father is 45 5 years from now, and we are told that at 5 years from now, father is twice as old as son, and if he's 45, his son must be 22.5. Well, if his son is 22.5 years old 5 years from now, then today he must be 17.5. Voila. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put the arrows and the numbers so you can see where we began our journey and where we finished it. So, father is 40. If father is 40, then 5 years from now, he must be 45. So this is our box number 1. 5 years from now, he must be 45. Well, if he's 45 5 years from now and he's twice as old as his son at that point, then his son must be 22.5. That's our box number 3. Well, if the son is 22.5 5 years from now, then today he must be 5 less than that, 17 and a half. Box number 4. Voila. 17 and a half is what we found. That is exactly what our equation tells us. You see right here this equation? F equals 2s plus 5. We found it right there. That's all. That's all there was. Something like this, of course, will not appear in the real exam, and most likely in one of these exams here, GRE, GMAT, or HESI, because there's too many unknowns here. Usually they give you something. They give you something, like here in this example, they would give you something. How old is father if the son is 30 now, or how old is son if father is 40 now, something like that. And of course you have to solve it, but before you can do that, you have to have an equation. You understand? Actually, you would do it arithmetically like we did here. So, but anyway, so that was the equation, and that equation in fact is the correct equation, because when we do it an arithmetic problem, it actually gives us the same answer as what we just found doing the calculation ourselves. So that is the correct answer. Father equals 2 times s plus 5. Okay. I will see you tomorrow on day number 184. Alright? Bye then.